Hello, everybody. If you're just tuning in, my name is Teri-Ann, and I am a childbirth educator with my nutrition certification. And I am going to be talking about what happens after birth. Most of us are all preparing for the wonders of birth in the ways that we culturally have a lot of energy around. And we come from a very fear-based energy. We come from a very fear-based culture. Birth is seen as an emergency event, and thusly we need to head to the hospital in case things go bad. And in the north of America and in America and Australia and some other countries, Brazil, I believe, have the highest cesarean rates around. Here in British Columbia, here in Canada, we have 44% in Vancouver just this year, 2022. And what that means is that people are experiencing birth in a way that is very medicalized. And there really isn't a lot of energy or focus put onto what it's like to go through birth as a spirit. Your body knows what it's like to go through birth because your body is feeling those feelings, whatever happens and unfolds in your body. How you react to those feelings is definitely a part of it. But what we do not focus at all in our Western medicalized culture is the person underneath the body, the soul, the spirit. And this leads to a lot of us here in the West suffering with postpartum mood disorders and anxiety in the fourth trimester. But actually, some people are experiencing this depression or lack of self in the first year, sometimes even up to 2-3 years. Some people aren't aware that they're in it. I was one of those people. I didn't know I was in it until I was out of it. And then my reality changed quite considerably because I then was really awoken to the lack of care that I was provided for my spiritual growth and my attunement to motherhood. You just get given a baby and now you're on your own. Good luck. We won't even provide with you to understand the sleep cycles. We won't really provide you any information about how you as an individual needs to recover. You are provided with a lot of sheets, a lot of pieces of paper, but at the time they're provided, you're already in it. And so that lack of pre-preparation for what comes after birth is where most people are shocked. Most people don't know until they're in it. And when you're in it, it can be a bit too late to reach for the people or the support systems or the tools that can truly nourish you in those moments. So my goal for my time with you in the next half an hour is to help you to plan a holistic approach for your fourth stage of birth and the fourth trimester. Because once that placenta leaves your body, you are not the same person. And how you experience each moment will vibrate out for the next year to the rest of your life. And this is something that can be prepared for if you know what's coming. Hi, Sarah on the West Coast. I'm on the West Coast too. You know, I can see that you have been initiated in many ways. And I think that your fear is based on a knowing that you may not have known becoming a stepmom. So you're already ahead of the game. So pat yourself on the back in terms of that. But grab a pen and jot down what feels right for you guys. The great thing about what I do is there's a ton of options. Traditionally, culturally, there's a tons of ways that you can prepare for this. And I look at the Chinese and the Ayurvedic approaches to recovery, and I've used them in my meal guides as well as the way that I help you to use mindfulness practices to navigate what your experiencing, because mindfulness helps you to be in the moment and to regulate your nervous system. And by regulating your nervous system, you're able to regulate how you're experiencing each moment. And trust me, there's going to be, if you've been pregnant, you know, the fluctuations of hormones in pregnancy and the highs and the lows that you can feel. So when you have a baby, that's not going to change. You may feel differently in terms of how you feel in your body, because your body is different, but those highs and lows will be there for you to navigate. And that's what Birthing Nourished Parents, my goal is to help you to navigate each moment with a true intuitive knowing that when you are present and not trying to run from or leave the experience that is challenging you, there's opportunities for growth. And that's what I failed it to have in my 4th trimester with my daughter. I have 2 children now, and I was able to truly create a wonderful plan for recovery and nourishment with my 2nd. And I learned a lot about myself in the process. And so I want to share this with you and share my offerings with you in ways that truly change the world, because we deserve better than what we're given. We are more than a body. And how well we nourish our families in this most crucial time of awakening into a parent, someone who's going to raise the next generation, the most important people on this planet. We can truly utilize we can utilize the learnings and the teachings from the wisdom of our Chinese and Ayurvedic traditions that have been carried on and on, because they work. And then the spiritual aspect is where we're all stepping up now in this consciousness and awareness that how we think affects how we feel. And so what I'd like to start with are the pillars of what you can aim to work towards. And I'm just going to free flow chat this out with you guys. I love your comments. If you have questions as I go along, I'd love to answer them for you. You asking me questions helps me help you. So please feel free to use this space as a safe space. And I'm actually going to be creating a group that you guys can join in on weekly topics like this. I have a podcast as well, Birthing Nourished Parents podcast, which I also already shared a podcast episode on this topic, so you can keep diving in, because there's so much to teach you. Like, I really could fill up like a weekend workshop, and we probably still wouldn't do it all, because it's so fun. There's so many ways to learn and grow. So the pillars, like, what are you going to work on? A, B, C, D. I love a good plan. So let's make a plan. So we start out our plan with your physical body, because that's really where we're already given a lot of tools for. So your physical body recovery. So number 1. And how are you planning on nurturing a new mum body? I know that there's a lot of talks about padsicles. I use them with my daughter, but I used steaming with my son, and I've actually felt way better. It healed. It seemed to heal way faster. So there's the obvious exit with the baby. If you have a cesarean birth, you'll have different challenges, but you'll still be able to steam to help your womb to heal. So that's a good point to make that maybe you aren't aware of. Steamy Chick is someone I follow. She's been a leader in this steaming evolution for women in their uterus health postnatally. They actually have a scientific, a little study they did of 500 women who were supported in steaming and the ones that weren't, or how long they steamed. It's a really good study. Check out her website. That's Steamy Chick. So there's that. Then there's the boobs. Oh my gosh, do they change? The physical feeling of the boobs coming in, the feeling of those, the pressure, the change of relationship with your body in that way. I know there's a lot of people who've been over sexualized, and boobs have been, they're not welcome in everyone's space, which is a shame, because they're really part of the body, and that is truly nourishing external babies. And so how we look at our boobs can affect that experience of breastfeeding. And that's a really big topic, and I want to do some more diving in on that later. Then with the bleeding, there's also the aspect of being aware that fresh pink blood is an indication of overactivity. And I definitely wasn't told that by my midwifery team. Some of them do. So obviously you can't blanket map every care provider team, but there are some things that are missed in helping you to plan your recovery and how long you're going to be recovering for. So then with breastfeeding, there's the hunger. The physical self is so hungry. And if we don't have enough meals prepared that are tuning into that physical recovery phase and understanding that hormones really do change how your digestive system works. You know this. When you first got pregnant, you probably had a little bit of constipation. You had probably hunger or nausea. There's different ways to see how the body went through pregnancy, and that can reflect what you may experience in the postpartum experience, postnatal experience. So nourishment is from the physical body, nourishment. And so for most people, there's no real understanding about how to feed yourself in that body. That's a new body that you've never been in. So you don't know what feels good. And so you don't always know how to plan those meals around what will feel good in that body. The Chinese and the Ayurvedic approach is to truly nourish the mum with overcooked rice, because it's very gelatinous and it helps to almost soulfully fill the mum in a slow digested, pre-digested way. The most notable point in both of their approaches is that there are really limited to no salads. You'd think that's what people would go for. There's limited to no flour, like breads or muffins. And there's a lot of fat in both approaches, whether that be ghee or butter. In the Ayurvedic style, it's very plant-based, so lentils and chickpeas and black beans and barley. But with the Chinese approach, there's a bit more meat and ligaments and joints and fish, pulling from nature what we are missing. And I do feel that there is a lack of glycine in our current diet as we are in preparation for birth. People don't understand that glycine, which is an amino acid, a building block of protein, that helps you to stretch, to grow skin and joints and ligaments that move in birth. And so if eating enough animal, like pork rinds or fish skins or chicken skins or just bone broth, collagen, the joints and the recovery will be longer. So there's that to know. And you really can't get collagen from plants. So it is one thing that's missing from the vegetarian aspect that I have noticed in my looking at the two diets that are options for people out there. So then there's a brain aspect of nourishment. And when you are a new mom, not only do you get woken very often, so that limits your recovery in that way, and also changes your hormones. So you're more hungry because you're awake more. You're not getting into that rest digest stage where you recover and repair DNA. You need to get that from your food more often, your nutrients more often. So then there's like the brain food. So you want to be eating seaweeds for your thyroid, which is super challenged. Then you want to eat egg yolks and liver. Egg yolks and liver are so important in the fourth trimester and in pregnancy, to be honest. They do build really healthy brains in mums and babies, and that will help with a lot of where the brain physically shrinks and regrows in new motherhood. There is science to show this. It is real. We cannot deny the science on how amazing our bodies are in allowing space for growth in learning new things at the time where we need to learn new things. It's made to be that way. So that's really cool and exciting. So nourish your brain. DHA is also another way to do that. So smaller the fish, the better, because of what's going on in the oceans. The smaller the fish. Sardines are great. Mackerel's great. Anchovies, if you're into them. Even just supplementing with DHA in a super form will be super helpful in your last month of pregnancy, because that's when your baby's brain is like doubling, tripling all the time. It's amazing stuff. So there's the physical aspect. Obviously, you have run a mountain or just climbed a mountain or run a marathon. And so then in the Chinese and the Ayurvedic approach to recovery, they do have a lot of ways for you to stretch on the daily, very just slow movements, stretching in really intuitive ways. And then they also have back massages and belly binds and yoni steams, all the physical stuff. So there's lots there. And if it feels right for you to research those, keep going on those. Then there's the community, because community is something we lack in this boxed world where we live separately, and we have people are sending something, sent TikTok universe. I don't know what these are. Sorry, I'm like really new to this live thing, and there's some stuff popping up, so I'm gonna have to research that later on. Anyway, carrying on. It doesn't matter. If you're here, and I'll figure out the rest. So the community aspect of things is where I grew exponentially in my second opportunity for planning a recovery, because I actually had to learn to ask for help. Like, it's really hard to ask for help. I'm a go-getter, do-it-yourself kind of girl, and I had to create a support system, and I did that because my partner Noni works away at the time, worked away. I just knew that with my daughter being around, she'd need some nourishment in her time of growth in becoming a big sister as well. And so we actually moved my mother-in-law in. Now I know I'm super lucky because of this. I have a mother-in-law that I wouldn't mind, I don't mind living with. She's super helpful, and she's like a magic wizard with laundry. But not everybody has that. So what kind of support system will you have, and how long will they be there, and how often will they check in, and what will they do? Because trust me, the 24-hour job of looking after a baby requires that you sleep in most of the day, or whenever you can. And the people that come in and leave need to be aware that this is a space of nourishment and recovery, and it's not a space of being entertained, which is something that some cultures really do well. In Chinese cultures, they actually move into the mother-in-law space, or the Ayurvedic cultures, the mother-in-law or mother moves into your space. It's very very tender, and they raise you as the new parent like the baby. And the better that you are nourished, the better the baby is nourished, and the better the bond between the mother and the baby, because you've got time to actually learn what the baby's cues are. You've got time to figure out breastfeeding. You've got time to just move slowly and be in your new time zone, which is non-existent. It is a space above a space above a space that doesn't that you will never know until you're in it. So community, who's going to be there to support you, and how are they going to do that? Then there's your relationship. Woo, that's going to change. And I don't know if you know that, but it's going to change, and it's ever evolving after you have children. So with relationships, I really recommend that you guys have a check-in moment of each day where you ask each other openly and honestly what you're feeling and what you need. And but have the space available that you don't need to resolve it right there and then, but that you can voice what you feel without the need for it to be fixed. Because whether you're the guy or the girl, some people are fixers, and it's not always the right thing that people need to hear in the moment. But just being heard can be enough, and for you to get it out of your head so that you can work towards a solution is also helpful. So that's my relationship connection tip. Always checking in with each other, because you can get lost when the energy is all going onto the baby. And that can be a big challenge. Most divorces happen within 3 years of a baby arriving. Apparently the statistic I last looked was 84% for new parents, which is a shocker. We need more support. Evidence is everywhere. Woohoo! You guys are doing it. So let's do it. Then there's your spiritual awakening, which is something that is not discussed at all in our Western culture, where you are just a body. And when you lose all sides of yourself and go into a new dimension and of time and space with a new human being on this planet, you're kind of swimming in the unknown. You're swimming in who am I, what am I, where do I get my worth? You know, in our culture, money is where worth comes. And if you're not making the money, are you worth much? How many diapers does it take for you to be worth a lot? And if we were paid per diaper, how rich would we be? If we were paid per minute of breastfeeding, how rich would we be? Because they convert to a full-time job, actually more than a full-time job, like way more, especially in the early days with all the extra diapers and feeding that happens for a little newborn. It is more than a full-time job, yet our culture doesn't honor it in the ways that it deserves. And so how will you prepare your spiritual growth in this space? What will you put in place? I personally put in place some journaling prompts that helped me to look at who I was in terms of losing my identity as a mother of one, as a nutritionist, birthing, childbirth educator at the time, just letting those go for a while, just stepping back and stepping into what was and being okay with that. How can you be okay with what is and not be looking for something else to fill your time? Because it can feel monotonous changing diapers all the time, and it can feel monotonous just like not even having the drive to get out of your PJs because you haven't physically felt like yourself for a while, and you may not physically feel like yourself for years. But who are you now that you've lost all of your sides of yourself anyways? And how can you honor that? I'm going to be creating a community on Thrive Revolution, and it's kind of like a Facebook space in terms of having a group. So I'm going to post that on my website, and I'm going to create this community so that we can have these conversations in a bit more detail, because there's so much more for me to say. And I want to create the space so that you guys can ask me questions, because I put the question stickers out here on TikTok and I don't know that it's meeting the right ears. And so I want to start building the community for the people who are into this idea that they deserve more, that you guys deserve more than what you're offered in the system. And so that we can truly revolutionize and make this happen, and create this change in our community and community awareness and community set up, so that when systems are looked at and addressed, these things are demanded, and that's how change happens. So keep an eye on my website for that. I'll put it on the homepage as soon as that's up and running, and it should be either today or tomorrow. So we've got the physical body, we've got the community, we've got the relationship, and we've got the spiritual. I'm feeling like there's something that I'm missing, because but I'll come back around to it. So from what we know to be true, what people aren't super aware of is that the breastfeeding and the physical challenges of a new body, a new person without the baby in their body, and then the baby's on their body. There's the touch out feeling that can come with that, because you're literally skin on skin as much as you can, which helps with the hormones of feeling okay. The more skin on skin you do, the better your oxytocin is, so the better you can thrive and survive the challenges of being awoken every hour and a half. With the spit up and the lochia and the breast milk leaking, the body, and crying a lot, the body is shedding its old self. So when you meet moments of challenge, how can you set up a time of reconnecting with who you are without the layers of labels that we love? We love labels. We're like compartmentalizing things in our life to give them order and meaning. But when you have no order, and it is a completely not, is a very feminine space with a newborn. It is not matriarchal. It doesn't have an ABC linear checklist. It is truly intuitive, feeling into what your baby may need, feeling into what you may need to nourish yourself in each moment, and being okay with eating that muffin at 3 a.m. and not guilting yourself about you still have your baby weight. Because that is an old paradigm. We are moving out of a paradigm of shame, of the shame of this isn't good enough. This lack of true care that we deserve in the 4th trimester is not good enough. And it's okay to feel like you want more, because you deserve it. So as you work on your 4th trimester plan, will you be freezing meals that are from the Ayurvedic or the Chinese perspective, or will you do a blend, depending on your style of eating? Who will support you in that recovery phase? Who will show up for you day to day, take your dog for a walk, take your bins out, wash your dishes, do your laundry? That's going to fourfold the existing laundry loads you have. And how will you receive help? This is the big one. How will you receive help and welcome it in a way that really nourishes you so that you can nourish your baby? How will you do that for yourself? What things will you need to let go of? What ideas around having and receiving help? What will you need to let go of to do that well? these are some journaling points that you might want to start working on. And I hope that as you look into the sides of yourselves that you need to let go of, this I can do it all, be it all person, or this I don't have a community person, how do you create one? Do you have a local La Leche community where you can go and watch other people breastfeeding before you breastfeed? Can you look online for some support about what breastfeeding a newborn looks like? And who will your lactation consultant be? And have that ready on the fridge. Have your awareness of who you can call in the middle of the night. And I feel like that's where I'm going to come in. I'm going to help you guys with a community that is virtual. I'd love to be in person. I'm here in Nanaimo in Vancouver Island, and I'm going to make a local community, but right now online is safe for everybody. And so I'm going to create a space where you can connect with other people going through the same experiences that you are. So whether you're pregnant or you're trying to get pregnant and you want to learn, or you're a new parent, you can come along to this group, and I'll be hosting weekly check-ins with you and providing you with tools that can really truly support you through this transformational time. Because I really think that if I don't do this work, unfortunately, our system is going to keep failing until somebody stands up and just said, this is enough. So I'm going to stand up. I'm going to say this is enough and that we need to do better. And if you're going to join me in this, come over to my my group that I'm creating today, and I'll have it on my website, and we're going to keep talking, and we're going to keep growing and learning. And I just want to know what you guys want to know. So before I go and let you carry on with your day and feeling into what you need now that you've learned all of these aspects of what you're going to face and what you may need to prepare for in your fourth trimester, as your hormones really reflect that maturescence, that adolescence, when you were 16, 15 and your hormones were shifting and changing and you were becoming a new you. Envision that for your maturescence. That is the scientific term of what the hormonal changes are going to be like for you in the fourth trimester. And I don't say this to scare you, I say this to empower you, because it's a time for growth and opportunity. So how will you nourish yourself? What kind of questions do you guys have for me right now? So that you can leave this conversation with a feeling of knowing that you are on the right path, a validation that you are on the right path. Okay, I want to thank everybody who came, and I want to thank everybody for showing up today and taking the opportunity to learn all the ways that you can prepare for your fourth trimester, the ways that you may be challenged in your fourth trimester. And I look forward to seeing you again. I have a Q&A on Thursday, so if you don't have any questions right now, but you want to send me those by email, my email is birthingnourishparents@gmail.com, and send me the questions so that I can truly give you some wonderful processes that may help you to dive into those answers in a way that is attuned to your specific needs. Because I can tell you what to do, but I really don't ever do that for my clients. I really truly mentor, and how I mentor is providing you with a space to look at what you want, rather than me telling you what I would do, because there's so many options for what is available to you in this wonderful revolutionary time of being a human being and going and living in this body. So if you want to watch the replay and you've missed the beginning of this, and this is something that piques your interest, go over to my YouTube channel, Birthing Nourished Parents, and you can watch the video over there. I also have a podcast, Birthing Nourished Parents, and I hope to see you again. I'll be posting on my website when that community space is up and ready for you all, so we can keep diving in deeper and exploring what this opportunity for us to change the system will look like, because of your participation, because of your questions, because of the ways that you want for us to revolutionize birth and the recovery phase of becoming a new parent. I truly thank you all for taking this time, not only for yourself and your baby, but for us as a collective, because every moment we take to reimagine the world is a moment that we create a better world for our babies and our children. And I am a mama, so that's what I'm doing. So thank you for being here. I'll see you guys on Thursday at 5:30 PST Mountain Time, where we do the Q&A. Okay, thanks so much.